Post-match chat is live and well, a history-making match we saw today. Zimbabwe, for the very first time, have beaten Pakistan in T20 international cricket. They defended 118, in fact, I beg your pardon, against Pakistan. Pakistan lost the match by 19 runs. They were all out for 99. The first time since 2016 that Pakistan have been bowled out in a T20 match, and that was against India in 2016. So well done to Zimbabwe. Massive congratulations. Huge win for them. Great performance. But इस कॉल पे मेरे पास 4 पाकिस्तानी लोग हैं, and none of them are particularly happy. So I'll just forewarn you, like, it might be a little bit negative today, and rightfully so, because nobody expected Pakistan to lose to Zimbabwe. Full credit to Zimbabwe, of course. Right, we're going to talk about it. By we, I mean me, Aatif Nawaz, Anam Nadeem, Armaan Kirmani, and Arif Asif. They're all on the call. Let's start with Anam. Anam, this might be tricky today, but your favorite performance of today's match?
हाँ, जब तक पाकिस्तान बॉलिंग करवा रहा था सब अच्छा था, और तब तक मेरे मतलब सब कुछ सॉर्टेड था कि यार अच्छा ये क्या होना चाहिए क्या नहीं होना चाहिए. अरशद इकबाल डेब्यू पे ही वाज ब्रिलियंट. मैं बहुत देर से बोल रही थी कि अरशद इकबाल को शायद साउथ अफ्रीका के अगेंस्ट भी हमें एक मैच खिला देना चाहिए था, टू जस्ट टेस्ट हिज पोटेंशियल आउट, एंड इट वाज सो गुड टू सी हिम टुडे. 8 विकेट ली, कितना स्कोर दिया थी अब सब भूल गए वैसे मुझे कि क्या क्या अच्छा सोचा.
उसके बाद बहुत कुछ हो चुका है ना. आई अंडरस्टैंड इट, कंप्लीटली अंडरस्टैंड. हमारे साथ बहुत कुछ हुआ है.
16 runs, 1 wicket, amazing spell. और उसमें एक बाउंसर भी शामिल था, जिसमें हेलमेट तोड़ के उसने दिखाया कि हेलमेट के नीचे भी कुछ होता है. मुझे भी नहीं पता था कि हेलमेट के नीचे भी कोई पार्ट होता है. तो
listen,
so yeah,
but he also checked on the batsman, which I thought was a really nice touch. Gentle behavior लेके आया वापस गेम में. I like that.
तो वो वाला सीन, अरशद इकबाल seems like in control of what he's doing, but then again, I don't know, आगे जाके पता चलेगा कि उसकी full potential क्या है, but today he was brilliant.
Very good. Talk about picking the positives. I'm very impressed with that. Armaan, what was your favorite performance of today's match?
Man, I'm going to go for Haris Rauf. I thought he bowled very, very well. Very low economy. Mr. Consistent. Wickets bhi leta hai. Economy bhi uski tight rehti hai. It feels difficult that I'm picking a Pakistani player, but that's how I felt when I watched the game. उसके बाद जो तबाही हुई है, अब मैं क्या बोलूं उसके बाद. Forget it. Let everyone else talk. But yeah, my player of the match, Haris Rauf.
आ रहे हैं, डोंट वरी. तबाही पे भी आ रहे हैं, तबाही पे बिल्कुल आ रहे हैं, लेकिन हम we've got to थोड़ा सा स्ट्रक्चर एंड कंसिस्टेंसी रखने की कोशिश करते हैं. Arif, tell me, what was your favorite performance of the match?
I think my favorite performance of the match, I'm going to pick Brendan Taylor. He didn't do well too with the bat or the ball. He doesn't bowl obviously, but I think his captaincy was brilliant today. The Zimbabweans, whether it's the management or the team or the captain, someone within that setup had a plan, and they executed it very well. They didn't just win this because Pakistan played really badly. There was some sort of method to the madness here today, and you know what? Well done to Brendan Taylor, the whole Zimbabwe setup, and the Zimbabwe team. It's your first win against Pakistan, and I hope for many more.
Yeah, hopefully many more against other teams, not too many against Pakistan. Just from my perspective, I but you bang on. They could have completely let their shoulders drop, their heads drop after they only put together 118 runs, but they kept it going. They did a really good job to just stay motivated and in the game, and there was so much noise when they were in the field as well. It was very impressive, generally very impressive from Zimbabwe. I think this team, everybody that's trolling them now and throwing around, insults about the Zimbabwe team, I think, eventually they'll be eating their words. Anyway, Anam, this might take a little bit longer. Your least favorite performance of the match today? Oh, sorry, did I give mine? Sorry.
No, you didn't.
My favorite performance was Luke Jongwe, another Zimbabwean, bowled beautifully and batted really nicely. And there was one shot in particular, which was my moment of the match. I'll tell you about later. But Luke Jongwe, fantastic bowling. I honestly didn't know anything about this guy coming into the series, but I will be watching him from now on. Again, some of the Zimbabwean talent, I'm very excited about it. So Luke Jongwe for me. Least favorite performance, Anam, किसने दिया आपको?
पूरी अगर उस तरह से देखें, कलेक्टिवली देखें, तो बैटिंग के ऊपर हमें ऑब्वियसली बात करनी है और पिन पॉइंट करना है. लेकिन इफ आई हैव लाइक पिक आउट वन परफॉर्मेंस आउट ऑफ आवर बैटिंग लाइनअप जिससे मुझे शदीद डिसअपॉइंटमेंट आज हुई है, मोहम्मद हफीज. यार व्हाट वाज ही डूइंग? 10 बॉलें खेली हैं, 5 स्कोर बनाया है. मतलब आप सीनियर मोस्ट बैट्समैन हो, T20s खेल के आपने जिंदगी अपनी गुजार दी है. आप मतलब क्या कर रहे हो? आपको तो गेम अवेयरनेस होनी चाहिए। आप गोल्फ प्रैक्टिस आपकी कहाँ चली गई है? आपकी शॉटेज जो है वो मतलब बाउंड्री क्या वो मुश्किल से वो सर्कल क्रॉस कर रही है। व्हाट इज रॉन्ग विद यू मैन? यू नीड अ वेकअप कॉल एज वेल। इतनी अच्छी परफॉर्मेंस देते आ रहे हो, ठीक है, और अब जब टाइम आया है कि आप एंजॉय करो अपना क्रिकेट। आई लुक अगेन, हम ये बोले अगर कि जी जिम्बाब्वे की टीम, आई एम नॉट डिसरिस्पेक्टिंग जिम्बाब्वे एज एन ऑपोजिशन, बट कंसिडरिंग पाकिस्तान और जिम्बाब्वे की अगर हम बात करें कि कौन अच्छा है या कौन नहीं, पाकिस्तान की बैटिंग लाइनअप इज बेटर देन जिम्बाब्वे's, राइट? एंड वी आर मोर केपेबल ऑफ हैंडलिंग जिम्बाब्वे की बॉलिंग अटैक। अगर उस तरह से देखा जाए तो आई एम रियली डिसअपॉइंटेड इन हफीज। और कितने चांसेस चाहिए, क्या नहीं चाहिए आपको? आप सीनियर बैट्समैन हो, ठीक है जी, आप प्रेशर उस वक्त डॉट बॉल्स का प्रेशर था, आप हटा सकते थे और आपको हटाना चाहिए था। यू नीड टू बी हेल्ड रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर योर परफॉर्मेंस।
Well, there you go. Strong words from Mohammad Hafiz, struggling to get back in the runs after this really long golden period with the bat, and of recent times he struggled. After those little skirmishes with management that we talked about in the summer uh, during the PSL time, it's been a bit difficult for Hafiz. I think a lot of people will join you there, Anam, for that critique. Arman, this is maybe the bit that everybody watching has been looking forward to the most, right? Arman's least favorite performance of the match. I have a feeling I know who it is, but tell me, who is it?
यार देखो आतिफ, इस सिंपल बात ये है कि लास्ट वीकेंड हमने भी एक क्रिकेट मैच खेला था, ठीक है ना? और उसमें वी वेंट टू प्ले टुगेदर और हमने अल्टीमेट वॉरियर्स गिविंग देम अ शाउट आउट 369 40 ओवर में बनाए थे, ठीक है ना? तो जब मिड इनिंग्स की पॉइंट थी, जब हम बाहर गए थे फील्ड, तो हंसी मजाक में कह रहे थे कि बिकॉज मैं कप्तानी करता हूँ कि यार बासित अरमान, बासित मेरा असली नाम है, अरमान मेरा स्टेज नेम है, यार अगर ये मैच हार गए ना तो मतलब कि यू नीड टू रिजाइन फ्रॉम योर ओन टीम, क्योंकि मेरी टीम बनी हुई है, मैं कैप्टन हूँ, 369 हम कैसे हार सकते हैं 40 ओवर्स में जब हम जा रहे थे, ठीक है ना? तो ये वाली सीन थी। तो आज मैं आपको ये बताऊंगा कि जब 119 योर 1-0 आप मिड वे स्टेज पे 119 आपको चेस करने हैं, तो वही वाली जो प्रेशर मेरे ऊपर था लास्ट सैटरडे, doesn't matter what level of cricket you're playing. When you're Pakistan versus Zimbabwe, Babar Azam has to take the same responsibility. I need to tell you that he is definitely my least favorite performance, and it's on this basis. The fact that from a winning position, comfortable position, because of his tactical decisions as a batsman and as a captain, we are now one match away from potentially losing an away series to Zimbabwe in a year when we should be going to win the World Cup. So it's Babar Azam, and I know I'm going to elaborate on this later on, but I'll keep it short.
No, that's fine. That's fair enough. I think a lot of people will back you on that. I wouldn't personally, but I know a lot of people would. So we'll talk. Well, maybe we'll go back and forth a little bit later on. Let's talk to Arif. Arif, tell me, what was your least favorite performance of today's match?
My least favorite performance is the same as the one in the last match. I think Marumani. Again, I keep saying I think Zimbabwe are opening the Pakistan's book here. They're hyping up their youngsters so much and they're not performing. I really wanted him to perform, get some runs, and just prove the commentators right for once. But yeah, I was disappointed in his performance, especially when the side has won. They're backing their youngster. They're putting him in at numbers 3. They're telling him go out and play your game, and he's just not been able to do so far. A little harsh, I guess. It's only his second game, but then why hype him up so much?
And he's only 19, Arif. Give him a break, yaar. क्या हो गया? 19 साल का ही है अभी.
Yeah, but I'm only doing it to highlight something that we've been doing incorrectly
You're
for so
being a
long.
desi parent right
For
now.
so long.
बस कि बच्चा क्यों नहीं अच्छा कर रहा? उसको अच्छा करने की जरूरत है.
Yeah, we pick up players who hit a tape ball for 6 and right, this guy's the next best thing, and the commentators hype them, the media personnel hype them, and it's the same thing happening with Marumani here. He's been hyped up a lot, and he's just he doesn't look as good as the hype at the moment.
I haven't followed a lot of the Maramani hype, I've got to admit, but I'm going to take your word for it, Arif, to be honest with you. I don't have the information.
Are you not listening to the same commentators I'm listening to? Because that's my only source of information at the moment.
I think one thing I've got to say at PMC for all our viewers, nobody supports Zimbabwe as much as our guests and our hosts do. We are Pakistani fans, but I think, you know what, with the guests that we've given, we are massive proponents for Zimbabwe cricket here.
But isn't Pakistan cricket known for that though? Sri Lanka, we brought them through. Bangladesh, we brought them through. We might be doing that to Zimbabwe at the moment.
No. Genuinely, no, absolutely no disrespect to Zimbabwe. There is a lot of Pakistani focus on the show, obviously, because that's, the cricket we've been watching our whole lives. That's the cricket team the four of us love. So, anyway, I'll give you my least favorite performance. I think this might kind of shape the rest of the episode as well, which is. I'm going to go with Asif Ali, right? Now, I don't mean to go hard on him. I'm a big proponent of what Yasser Arafat said on our show once before, which was, I don't blame the players. I blame the management that put them in that scenario. Asif Ali came in today, played a nothing innings. There's seen a lot of critique. Abdullah Afzal, who's been on our show as well, he had criticism for Asif Ali as well. And that's fine. He played a poor innings. 100%. The criticism is deserved. I'm making my least favorite. But what I really want to critique is the management, the Pakistani team management. In the previous game, they played Haider Ali, didn't work, no problem. This game, they play Asif Ali, didn't work, no problem. Next game, they'll likely play Haider Ali again. They do this continually. They're continually flip-flopping Haider Ali and Asif Ali. And they're just showing their cards. They're showing the panic that they're feeling right now about their middle order. They've kind of decided we must go all in on one or the other, but every game they change their mind. There's no confidence for the batsman. There's no rhythm for the batsman. There's no way for them to settle or feel settled. Every time Asif or Haider go out to bat right now, they must be just a bundle of nerves because they know how much pressure and scrutiny they're under. There's no confidence being given to these guys. So this is something they absolutely must fix. The management need to sort themselves out. Either give the player some confidence or tell the player you need to go back, play some domestic, and we'll bring you back into the setup a little bit later. There you go. That's my least favorite player, and it's really, I said Asif Ali, but I meant the management. Let's talk a little bit about the moments of the match, right? And feel free to talk around this a little bit. Anam, what was your favorite moment of the match?
Any guesses? नहीं अच्छा नहीं रहने दो हम गेस वाले मूड में भी नहीं है ल्यूक जॉन्गवे रिजवान को आउट किया ठीक है ब्रॉडा जूता उतारा और कॉल मिलाना शुरू कर दी मेरा फर्स्ट वो था कि यार किसको कर रहा है शम्सी को मिला रहा है किसको कॉल मिला रहा है सीन क्या है एंड ही केप्ट ऑन डूइंग दिस 4 विकेटें लिए और सब में ऐसे ऐसे जूता उतार के कर रहा था अच्छी बात है वो बंदा 5 साल बाद इंटरनेशनल क्रिकेट वापस खेलने आया है सो इट्स गुड दैट ही इज एंजॉयिंग हिमसेल्फ और विकेटें भी ले रहा है आज मैच विनिंग स्पेल था उसका 4 विकेटों का सो इट्स रियली गुड टू सी somebody at least somebody was enjoying in that so called boring match जो मिड इनिंग्स तक बहुत बोरिंग था उसके बाद सब हैपनिंग हो गया
Yeah, no, the commentator that I was listening to said something like, "Oh, if he's calling the British Shamsi, it's going to cost. It's going to be an expensive call," which just made me think, like, how expensive are calls from Zimbabwe to South Africa? Like, why is this a problem? Like, they shouldn't be. Surely they should. I don't know the ins and outs. Also, every time they do that celebration, as someone who plays cricket, like, I'm really worried that they're going to put spikes to face, and it terrifies me. Anyway, Armaan, what was your moment of the match?
देखो आज बहुत सारे बुरे मोमेंट्स थे अच्छे मोमेंट बहुत कम थे तो अभी आपने कहा ना इलैबोरेट करना तो मैं जरा अपने आपको स्पेसिंग माय सेल्फ मैंने शुरू में मैं ज्यादा हंगामा नहीं करूंगा लेकिन अब आपने मौका दे दिया तो बोलना पड़ेगा ठीक है मैं भी बोलूंगा आसिफ अली की डिसमिसल ठीक है ना और मैं लेकिन इस एंगल से आऊंगा कि भाई 119 हम चेस कर रहे थे पाकिस्तान से जिम्बाब्वे सीरीज क्लिंचिंग वाला मैच था और आप कहते हो कि हमारे प्रीवियस गेस्ट ने आके बोला था यार इनको आप डोमेस्टिक में परफॉर्म करें भाई आसिफ अली हैदर अली डोमेस्टिक में परफॉर्म कर चुके हैं these guys like Asif Ali has the best strike rate in terms of hitting sixes in the PSL which has some pretty good bowling in it ठीक है ना वो कहीं हमने ऐसे नहीं उठा के लिए आए थे कि यार आज आके खेल लो और हम हैदर अली को ऐसे नहीं लिया था everyone knows these boys are very very talented लेकिन वो क्या वजूहात हैं कि ये जब पाकिस्तान के लिए आके खेलते हैं they cannot replicate the performances they're giving for their franchises. Or I'm pointing the finger directly at our coach and our captain because atmosphere is very very important for young talent. अभी हम 19 साल के बच्चे की बात कर रहे थे जिम्बाब्वे में ठीक है ना वो अभी नहीं चला हमारे पास कितने यंगस्टर्स अभी नसीम शाह भी आउट हो गया है अभी ये हमारे मिडिल ऑर्डर बैट्समैन भी स्ट्रगल कर रहे हैं तो this thing I'm not going to blame my 19-year-old I'm not going to blame Asif Ali I'm not going to blame Haider Ali because we all know these are talented people they have not taken their chances and they should be held accountable इनको ड्रॉप करना है ड्रॉप करो डोमेस्टिक में भेजना है डोमेस्टिक भेजो लेकिन at what point do we take responsibility and say यार इस कप्तान के अंडर बच्चे डेवलप नहीं हो रहे, इस कोच के अंडर बच्चे आके परफॉर्म नहीं कर पा रहे, और एक दफा नहीं लगातार सीरीज में परफॉर्म नहीं कर रहे। और अभी इनको पीएस अभी आएगा, जून में शुरू हो रहा है, एंड ऑफ मई में वापस शुरू होगा, फिर इनकी स्ट्राइक रेट ऊपर जाएंगी, और ये इंटरनेशनल कैलिबर्स के बॉलर्स दे विल बी फेसिंग, इट्स नॉट सो देयर इज अ प्रॉब्लम इन टर्म्स ऑफ द एटमॉस्फेयर, इन टर्म्स ऑफ द कोचिंग, इन टर्म्स ऑफ द मेंटल अप्रोच। ये पाकिस्तान से बाहर जाते हैं, इनको समझ भी नहीं आता कि विकेटों पे कैसे खेलें, इनको आपने अभी बोला इनको ड्रॉप किया जाता है, फिर इनको बोला जाता है कि यार आप रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी नहीं ले रहे हो। और ऊपर से मैं फाइनल चीज ये बोलूंगा, आई एम नॉट अ फैन ऑफ बाबर स्ट्राइक रेट, आई हैव सेड इट many times. ठीक है, Pakistan looked very, very strong when Babar was batting at 3, when we had Fakhar and Shajil potentially opening for me on paper, and we had Rizwan who was just scoring in every game. अब वो चीज चेंज कर दिया, फॉर सम जीनियस रीजन somebody has an idea to take a guy who has never batted at number 3 for Pakistan to bat at number 3 in terms of Fakhar Zaman, and even if he has once or twice we know he's an opener. तो शजील खान को आप टूर पे लेके गए हो, इतना हुआ बना उसके फिटनेस को, उससे भी ओपन नहीं करा रहे हो, और फिर बाबर, आई नो ही स्कोर्ड द बेस्ट 100 chasing when he had no choice but to score 200, उसके बाद स्ट्राइक रेट ओवर 100, उसके बाद स्ट्राइक रेट ओवर 100, उसके बाद आज भी मेरे 40 रन बन गए, यू नो आई हैव डन वेरी वेल। किसी और ने, मैंने पोस्ट मैच इंटरव्यू सुना मिडिल ऑर्डर डिडंट वर्क, ऑफ कोर्स मिडिल ऑर्डर डिडंट वर्क, लेकिन जब आप इतनी नेगेटिव अप्रोच रखोगे, जब आप पॉजिटिव क्रिकेट T20 ऑफ ऑल फॉर्मेट्स में नहीं खेलोगे, तो as captain from the top you need to set the tone, and our guys have no idea how to build an innings when we're batting first, and they're struggling when we're chasing unless somebody at the top scores. So these things are coming from the top, and Babar really, if he wants to go down as not only the best batsman but as the winning captain and actually win some accolades for Pakistan, then these things need to be looked at.
There's a lot there to unpack, and we'll try and do that in a second. But Anam Nadeem, I know you have to go. Arif, I'll come to you for your moment of the match first. So Anam, just before you go, just give me a little response to what Armaan is saying, whether you're in agreement, whether you disagree, even if it's a bit of both, and then tell me who's going to win the last match. Or फिर जाओ.
अच्छा, अरमान जो चीजें बोल रहा है, आई स्ट्रांगली एग्री विद हिम ऑन दिस। मेरा पॉइंट सिर्फ ये है कि अगर आज वाले मैच को देखा जाए, ये हम ग्रुप में भी बात कर रहे थे कि जब अरमान ने बोला कि बाबर का स्ट्राइक रेट पॉइंट आउट किया, आई वाज लाइक आई एम विद यू ऑन दिस। व्हाई? बिकॉज बाबर आजम की पोटेंशियल बहुत ज्यादा है। ठीक है, मैं नहीं कहती कि वो हमारे लिए सिर्फ वही एक लड़का है जिसने मैचेस जितवाने हैं, लेकिन क्योंकि एक ऐसा लड़का है जिसकी पोटेंशियल बाकी पूरी टीम से बहुत ज्यादा है। ठीक है जी, बाकी टीम परफॉर्म नहीं करती, बाबर को थोड़ा सा आज 44 बॉल्स 41 रन जो हैं वो कहीं ना कहीं हमें चुभे हैं इन पे। इसी तरह रिजवान, हफीज और फखर, इन तीनों की भी इक्वल उतनी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी थी कि यार हिट आउट कर लो, इतना मुश्किल नहीं। ठीक है, आप चौका नहीं मार सकते, छक्का नहीं मार सकते, आप स्ट्राइक तो रोटेट कर सकते हो ना। डॉट बॉल्स खेलना जस्टिफाइड नहीं था आज के मैच में। दिस सेकंड, हमने 220 रिकॉर्ड चेज बनाई साउथ अफ्रीका के अगेंस्ट। हम लोगों को लगा कि वाह यार हम लोग ऐसा कर सकते हैं, एंड ऑब्वियसली पोटेंशियल है तो कर सकते हैं ना। उस मैच में भी तो किया, ऐसा नहीं कि वो कोई तुक्का लग गया और हमने कर लिया, हम लोगों में पोटेंशियल थी तो किया। मेरा सिर्फ पाकिस्तान टीम के साथ अब इस पॉइंट पे ये मसला कि यार हम एक ही सर्कल में हम लोग घूमते रहते हैं। हम ऊपर कब जाएंगे, हम लोग एक्सीड कब करेंगे, हम अपनी पोटेंशियल को एक्सीड कब करेंगे। हम वो जो मीडियोक्रिटी का एक लेवल है, हमें उसको तोड़ने की जरूरत है, हमें उस शैकल से बाहर निकलने की जरूरत है। ये कहना कि हमारे प्लेयर्स जो हैं ऐसा नहीं कर सकते, लिमिटेशन है, वैसा नहीं कर सकते, लिमिटेशन है, तो यार आप क्रिकेट क्यों खेल रहे हो? आपके पास बेस्ट कोचेस हैं, आपके पास बेस्ट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है। इस मुल्क में क्रिकेट के अलावा कोई स्पोर्ट ऐसा नहीं जिसके पास इस तरह का इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर हो, इस तरह के कोचेस हो, इस तरह की लीग्स हो। ठीक है, तो फिर अगर क्रिकेट में भी नहीं परफॉर्म ठीक तरह से करना तो फिर कहाँ करना है? So yeah, it's high time we need to shed this attitude off कि यार वो ऐसा नहीं खेल सकता, वो ऐसा नहीं खेल सकता, उसकी ये लिमिटेशन है, उसकी वो लिमिटेशन है। वर्ल्ड कप आ रहा है, मेरे लिए पाकिस्तान फेवरेट नहीं है। आई डिसएग्री विद अरमान कि हमने वर्ल्ड कप जीतने जाना है। आई डोंट थिंक सो कि हमने वर्ल्ड कप जीतने जाना है। ऐसा अगर रहा, एक दिन पाकिस्तान टीम इज परफॉर्मिंग लाइक वर्ल्ड चैंपियंस, द नेक्स्ट डे वी आर परफॉर्मिंग लाइक ओ शिट, हमें तो खेलना भी नहीं आता। So, you know, we need to get over with this. We need to perform consistently. और consistency मुझे नहीं पता कि वो किस दिन हमारी टीम जो है ना वो लेबल लेके चलेगी। Yes, we're a consistent team. We can win consistently.
अच्छा, हाँ, कौन जीत रहा है अगला मैच? और फिर जाओ बेटा, जाओ।
यार अब अगर पाकिस्तान अगला मैच ना जीते तो फिर मुझे नहीं पता, फिर क्रिकेट छोड़ दें खेलना।
Okay, जाओ इफ्तारी करो। Lucky Pakistanis, they can iftar now. We've still got another 4 hours to wait here, 5 hours to wait here in the UK. Sorry, 5.5 hours. यार दिन लंबे हो रहे हैं। अच्छा, I'm trying to remember everything that Armaan said. I will come back to some of it, but first, let's get Arif's moment of the match. Sorry, you've been waiting. Arif, tell me, bro.
So my moment of the match was Babar's dismissal. I think that changed the game. Yes, Babar was sort of setting up his innings and pushing for that finish at the end. But to me, it looks like it was all on him, and it's always all been on him. Um, why don't the rest of the players chip in? Besides Rizwan, in the last few series that we've been sort of covering on PMC, we've always talked about Rizwan and Babar getting runs. What's happened to the rest of them? Do we not expect them to do anything? So yeah, is that the us not expecting them to do well? Is that the reason why they can get away with not doing well every time? Are we just expecting Babar to do well every time? I just think something's wrong here. Babar in a game in today's innings, in a game where Danish Aziz or Hafiz had scored another 20-30, Babar's inning would have looked really good. He was setting up the match. It was an easy, comfortable sort of in the park sort of a game. But because the rest of them don't come to the party, we can't blame Babar for that. He can only do so much. So I that's my sort of argument on that, and I definitely agree with Anam. I think our sort of prediction on Pakistan going to the World Cup and winning, we've been overrating this side for the last few months. They've not had the. I'm not saying Zimbabwe was the opposition who were going to prove that today, or were going to prove that for us, but I think we've not really had the opposition worthy enough for us to come to that conclusion that Pakistan are going to be contenders for the World Cup. And the PSL being rescheduled at a time it has done, we really needed the PSL to finish before these two series, so then we could test out more players. But for the PSL to finish where it is finishing, we're not going to have the time to sort of trial out a few of the players. I know Danish Aziz will get another game, and I was a little disappointed in him as well. But yeah, the middle order, let's leave Babar alone for a bit. Yeah, another way to look at the scorecard is, he scored. He was the only one who scored. Nobody else scored. So yeah, I think his criticism is unjustified at this moment in time.
Moment of the match, which seems kind of irrelevant right now, but I'll give it to you anyway, is Luke Jongwei hitting that ramp shot of Hasnain, which was extraordinary to watch. It was his first runs as well. He hits a 6 to get off the mark, and it's a ramp shot, and it's off Hasnain, a really quick bowler. I just was really impressed with Luke Jongwei. I'm going to be following him quite closely going forward, but yeah, so I mean, there's things about what Armaan said I agree with. There's things I disagree with. The one thing I will agree on is there is definitely an issue with the composition of this team, and I also think there's an issue that the coach, captain, management, whoever you want to bundle in that, have the approach they've taken to this tour. Like even the first match, people say, they lost a match to Zimbabwe, so there's a knee-jerk reaction. Well, they didn't exactly win the first one super convincingly or super comfortably either, So it's not quite knee-jerk to suggest that this team is slightly underperformed in Zimbabwe. Even if they were to win 3-0, you could still critique them quite intensely. And I just think that the way they've approached setting up their team, it hasn't really worked for me. I don't want to complain because I've asked for experimentation, and they've given and I want players to have a decent run. So they've brought in Danish Aziz and they've given him an extended run, which is the right thing to do. They brought Arshad Iqbal in today as well. They're getting Usman Qadir settled in that leg spinner spot, which is great. There's a case, I suppose, to be made for playing Sharjeel and Fakhr at the top, opening the batting. I'm not necessarily agreeing with that. I understand the value of the rhythm that a Rizwan Babar opening partnership means to Pakistan, but that rhythm didn't seem to be there. And just to come back to Babar's strike rate, Armaan, I'll definitely let you come back on this. Don't worry. But just to come back on Babar's strike rate, he got sort of 41 from 45 balls, 91 strike rate, which, okay, isn't great by modern standards. But you've also got to remember they're only chasing 118. So theoretically, a runner ball is fine. Also, if we're talking about strike rates, let's break them down. Mohammad Rizwan got 13 from 18 balls. That's a 72 strike rate. Fakhr Zaman got 2 from 7 balls. That's a 28 strike rate. Mohammad Hafiz got 5 from 10. That's maths anybody can do. 50 strike rate. Danish Aziz, 22 off 24, 91 strike rate. So his is the only strike rate. of anybody who scored more than 10 runs that's greater than Babar's, right? And again, Asif Ali, we talked about Asif Ali, 1 from 3, 33 strike rate. Fahim Ashraf, all-rounder, magnificent, 2 runs from 5 balls, 40 strike rate. So when your team has underperformed so massively, when I say underperformed, I mean below potential. I don't mean, what you might think. When your team has put in a performance that is below their standards like that, it feels counterintuitive to single out the best player who has been performing exceptionally well of late. He's shot up the rankings. His performances are beyond reproach. Tactics we can talk about, but it feels harsh to say you got 41 from 45, and if everybody else did that, we would have won the match. To single out his performance and say it was negative, it wasn't good. That's just my opinion on Babar. Arman, tell me a little bit more. Well, just follow on from this. I know we're through our structure. Just follow on from this.
आपने इतने सारे मुझे stats अभी दिया. अब आप मुझे बताओ, out of all of those batsmen that failed, how many batsmen batted more than 15 balls, let's say, today?
4 of them.
Who are they?
Rizwan, Babar, Hafiz, and Danish Aziz.
So three others. ठीक है ना? अब my point is this. जब आप स्ट्राइक रेट की बात करते हो भाई, आपने बहुत क्रिकेट देखी, आपने खेली भी है, मैं भी खेलता हूँ थोड़ी बहुत, देखी बहुत है. Strike rate in the first 10 or 15 balls is great if you can do it, but that's not where you measure the strike rate. The strike rate is measured when somebody is in, they face the balls, and then they're going on. मैंने आपको ग्रुप पे भी बोला था पहले, और मैं ये चीज भी बोल रहा हूँ. हमारा ओपनर अगर 30 रन 18 बॉल में करते, it is far more beneficial for us mathematically and strategically than scoring 40 or 41, because you're now using an extra 22 balls to score 10 runs once your eye is in. हम बाबर को उस मेट्रिक से मेजर कर रहे हैं. He is in already, okay? He is our best batsman and he is at the top of the order, and we have seen him bat at a strike rate of 200. भाई मेरे, आप अपने put yourself in the position of an Asif Ali or of a Danish Aziz. उनकी पहली सीरीज है या दूसरी सीरीज है या पहला साल है in international cricket. जब आप जा रहे हो, अब आप मुझे बताओ, आप पहली दफा पाकिस्तान में खेल रहे हो, there's no infrastructure there for you to fall back on. अब आपसे कोई कह रहा है यार आपके पास 5 बॉल है, आप 5 बॉलों की इनिंग, जब बंदे ने ऊपर, कप्तान ने और ओपनर्स ने 40-40 बॉल खेलनी है हर मैच में, आपको 5 से 10 बॉलें हर मैच में इन जनरल मिलती हैं, फिर आपको एक क्रंच सिचुएशन मिल जाती है, मस्ट विन गेम, जिम्बाब्वे हो गया या साउथ अफ्रीका हो गया, और आप उसमें परफॉर्म नहीं कर पाते हो. तो दैट इज फॉर अ यंगस्टर और अ न्यू कमर, इट इज वेरी वेरी डिफिकल्ट कि आप उनको स्ट्राइक रेट पे जज कर रहे हो, वो भी 5 और 10 बॉलिंग की जो बंदे खेलते हैं, और कहते हो यार क्या इनकी गंदी स्ट्राइक रेट थी. भाई मेरे, जब आपके बॉल बड़े कम होते हैं तो स्ट्राइक रेट एक एक बॉल पे बहुत लंबा फ्लक्चुएट करता है. दैट्स हाउ मैथ्स वर्क्स. So that's not the right metric for me to look at when I'm looking at an Asif Ali or a क्या कहते हैं Haider Ali, or looking at these guys have to perform. I'm not making excuses for them, but Babar Azam is, as you said, world number 1. Abhi we've seen him beat the world record in chase and in terms for Pakistan.
Arman, sorry to disrupt, but it sounds like we're reviewing or we're analyzing a Sunday League team where there's only 2 batsmen in the team and the rest of them are expected not to do anything. And when they come out, score 2 or 3 runs by the side of the pitch, then players are saying, well, you're the only one who can bat. It's your fault. You should have scored 20 more runs today. But this is an international team. They're all expected to score. Why are we putting pressure on one batsman?
Absolutely right. लेकिन जो ऊपर के लोग 40 और 50 और 60 बॉलें खुद खेलेंगे तो बाकी उनके लिए रह क्या जाता है. T20 in a format you don't have a lot of balls, and I agree with you. I agree with you that the youngsters need to perform. मैं इस चीज को बिल्कुल deny नहीं कर रहा. लेकिन this is why I'm saying put Babar at 3, put Rizwan at 4, get the great batsmen down the order so that they can take responsibility rather than putting it on a Danish Aziz on a debut series or putting on an Asif Ali who's not scored for Pakistan. तो मैं आपके साथ agree कर रहा हूँ. Our best players need to take their responsibility. That's all I'm saying.
Well, just to say, if you look at today's game, anybody going in after Babar got out, in their head, what they should have been saying was, yeah, Babar has taken us close. We've got a few balls. We can have a crack, loads of wickets in hand. But they didn't. They couldn't get it off the square. So whose fault is that? It is Asif Ali tried to pull a shot and he middled it to mid-off, and he was trying to hit it to mid-wicket. So let's get it right here. Our batsmen around Babar are not very good. Fahar Zaman, what has he done? Nothing, right? They're not very good. Either we're not giving them a chance, which is your point, which is your point, which I understand, or they're just not good enough. They're just not good enough.
भाई मेरे फखर जमान is not a good batsman. आप क्या बात कर रहे हो? He is like one of your best.
But he's had one. We can't just judge him on that 100 he's had 3 games ago. Come on, guys.
Why are you judging Fakhar Zaman, an opener, when he's being forced to bat at number 3? Why would you do that? Why would you take an opener? मैं Alistair Cook की average देखूं 3 और 4 पे. भाई opener है, पूरी जिंदगी as an opener खेला है. भाई दुनिया में ओपनर को जब आप गलत पोजीशन पे खिलाओगे और फिर आप मुझे बोल रहे हो कि यार ये बैट्समैन अच्छा नहीं है.
In 2020 he's only going to get another 5 balls, isn't he? Between number 1, 2 and 3 it's another 5 balls. So again, it's just all relative. I just think that as a team we're not there.
Can I just let me just have my 2 cents on this as well, which is that like the one bit where I'm with Armaan, like I think you can't blame Babar. He did his job. He got runs. Should he have got more? Absolutely. Should he have finished the game? Absolutely. He didn't today, but 9 out of 10 times he will. His track record proves that, and he'll do it at a good strike rate. Track record proves that as well. Now, what about everybody around him? Now, I'm not saying, hang, drawn, and quarter. I just said that expression completely wrong, but you know what I mean. I'm not saying completely destroy that middle order and just, throw them out of the system. I'm saying there's some kind of issue with management. To Armaan's point, Haider Ali spent most of his career, and it's a very short career, he's a very young man, but most of his career either opening the batting or coming in at number 3. Is it unreasonable of us to expect him to perform at number 6? Maybe. But if we don't have space for him in the national team at number 3, at the position where he can perform, why are we trying to squeeze him into a position where he doesn't? So I think on that basis, you leave Haider out, you have Haider on standby for when Fakhar or Hafiz or one of your first choices is unavailable, and that's when you use Haider and you use him in the position where he's most suited. Are we doing the same thing with Fakhar? Is Fakhar really an opening batsman masquerading as a number 3? Sometimes, Babar or Rizwan will get out early and then Fakhar is in early and it's a de facto opening position anyway. But would that number 3 position be better suited to a specialist number 3, a specialist batsman who gets runs in that position? These are all things to consider that I just don't think the team management is taking into account. They've got a decent lineup there. Okay, Danish he's a new player. We don't know much about him internationally. He showed a few glimpses. Actually, not bad with the ball as well, has to be said. Got a few wickets today. But, it's a decent team on paper. Where I disagree with Anam and I disagree with Arif is that I do think this team, the kind of people in and around the team have the talent to win the World T20. They absolutely do for me. But they're just missing their composition is wrong. This is what I'm looking at. And I'm not saying I have the answers. It's a difficult jigsaw, but they've got to get it right. It's a toss-up between Rizwan and Babar having settled into this really good opening partnership that has the capability and the potential to get you these high strike rate innings. They proved it. They chased down a 200 plus total. That's a proof case. That's a great test case to show we belong at the top. And they did it without slogging. They did it without so-called power hitting, right? So you've got to weigh that up against the likes of Sharjeel and Fakhar. Like, we're playing Fakhar at 3. If we played Sharjeel as well, we'd probably play him at 4, 5, 6, something like that. Is that the most efficient use of these players? It's a difficult choice. Again, I'm not saying I have the answers, but what I will also remind both of you guys and all of our viewers is that it's a long year to the T20 World Cup still. There's still a PSL to come. There's still a series against England, 2 series against England to come for Pakistan, 1 in England and 1 in Pakistan. And I'm sure there'll be more series in between that as well. So plenty of time for Pakistan to experiment. I really wish they were doing more of it in this series. But now they've kind of got their reason to double down. As I said after the first game, because Pakistan crept over the line rather than smashing Zimbabwe in the first match, they're justified to play a really strong team to try and finish out the game, finish out the series and claim it. So there's a lot of thoughts there. Armaan, any final thoughts? I'll give it to Arif after that and then we'll sign off.
देखो, final thoughts ये हैं कि मैंने आपको ये भी बोला था just before we went live today that as a Pakistani fan, we did expect that at some point on this tour, whether it's the second string South African team or the Zimbabwe team, and many of us felt it would be Zimbabwe because we felt they might be slightly more experienced than the South African players because they were missing quite a few of their regulars, कि Pakistan match हारेगा. मुझे कोई इतना गम और अफसोस नहीं है कि पाकिस्तान मैच हारता है जब हारता है, पर गम तब होता है जब पाकिस्तान मैच हारता है अपनी हिमाकतों से. मैं थोड़ा सा डिसएग्री करता हूं कि आप कह रहे हो कि यार बहुत लंबा साल है, एक्सपेरिमेंट करो. भाई मेरे, जब हम 92 में भी वर्ल्ड कप जीते थे और जब 99 में भी हम फाइनल पहुंचे थे, आई एम जस्ट गिविंग यू एन एग्जांपल, और इवन इन द 2009 T20 वी न्यू द फॉर्मूला. 6 months to go. We should know what we're doing with our openers. We should know who should be at number 3. We should know who, number 4. We should know our bowling lineup. Right now, as you say, Pakistan, we know, we've been watching the PSL, we've been seeing Pakistan perform in T20. This is a very talented team and definitely capable of lifting that trophy in India. That's the dream for us as Pakistani cricket fans. Lekin, and this is a big lekin, we have to get our strategy right. ठीक है, अब हम जा रहे हैं अगले सीरीज में, शायद इंडिया आ जाए, इंग्लैंड के खिलाफ खेलेंगे, वेस्ट इंडीज जाएंगे, इंग्लैंड अभी आएंगे, हमें ये नहीं पता यार कि हमारे ओपनर जो है वो नंबर 3 पे बैट कर रहे हैं, हमारे ऑलराउंडर्स 4 खेल रहे हैं, हम 2 स्पिनर खिलाते हैं या 3 खिलाते हैं, हमारे फास्ट बॉलर्स हैं कौन. It's like it's a total mess, even though there is so much talent. So for me, the closing thoughts and remarks are, भाई आप मैच हार गए कोई बात नहीं, ठीक है, होता है, इट्स स्पोर्ट, हार जीत लगी रहती है, वो वाली बात है, लेकिन यू कैन कंट्रोल योर सिलेक्शंस, यू कैन कंट्रोल योर स्ट्रैटेजी. और ये स्ट्रैटेजी दुनिया में कभी भी नहीं आई कि आप ओपनर को नंबर 3 पे खिला रहे हो कहीं पे भी किसी भी क्रिकेट में. वो तो वही बात होगी, आप कह रहे हो यार उसमें तो सिर्फ 1 बॉल या 5 रन, वो तो क्या रिकी पॉन्टिंग ओपन कर लेता ऑस्ट्रेलिया के लिए. भाई दुनिया का नंबर 1 नंबर 3 बैट्समैन था. देयर इज अ साइकोलॉजी दैट गोज इनटू क्रिकेट. अ बैट्समैन दे प्लेड देयर होल करियर. जब आप उनको जाके वो भी नई सीरीज में जाके बोल रहे हो यार प्ले आउट ऑफ पोजीशन या यू आर नॉट यूज्ड टू दिस, ये हमाकतें हैं. वी जस्ट नीड टू कीप थिंग्स वेरी सिंपल. शर्जील ओपनर है, ओपन कराओ. फखर ओपनर है, ओपनर कराओ. बाबर मिडिल ऑर्डर बैट्समैन है, ओडीआई में खेल चुका है, टेस्ट में खेल चुका है, T20 में खेल चुका है, मिडिल ऑर्डर में खिलाओ. हफीज मिडिल ऑर्डर में परफॉर्म है, रिजवान इज अ मिडिल ऑर्डर बैट्समैन. Just play them in their positions and inshallah victory will be ours. That's what I believe, because I believe in this team and their talent.
Yeah, just quickly on that, Armaan, would you back me in making a slightly bold selection, which is, look, you don't want to play Fakhar opening the batting, fine. Let Rizwan Babar open if that's what you really want. Let Heather bat at number 3 because that's his position.
I've told you on the show, Heather Ali for me is a top 3 batsman, but I'm sorry, I cannot back Rizwan and Babar to open. And the reason I can't is we are going, like, with all due respect, we'll be beating South Africa and Zimbabwe. भाई वर्ल्ड कप में न्यूजीलैंड भी होगा, वेस्ट इंडीज भी होंगे, इंडिया भी होगी, ऑस्ट्रेलिया भी होंगे, इंग्लैंड भी होगी, ठीक है. We are not going to beat them with these shoddy tactics and these slow strike rates. It's not going to happen. आप लिख लो, मेरी बात सुन लो, मेरे viewers. Babar Azam, Rizwan opening the World Cup in the World Cup is the biggest threat to Pakistan not lifting. We need batsmen who can bat at 130 and 150 after they've been in for 15 balls. I'm telling you on the record कि ये चीज आप World Cup नहीं जीत सकते. Impossible बात है.
Chalo, when Pakistan win the World Cup with Babar and Rizwan opening the batting, I'm going to clip this and post it. Listen, Arif, mate. Yeah, Arif, tell me what's your final thoughts?
So coming back to the World Cup, and yeah, I agree with you guys. The talent is there, but you can't predict on just talent and their names on paper. We can only predict on what's been happening in the last few weeks, and we did get a little overexcited, in my opinion. I was saying all along that it's a second string South Africa team. Zimbabwe will be very difficult. And let's not take, yes, Pakistan didn't bat too good, right? But let's not take it away from Zimbabwe. There was some sort of a plan. You could see they knew what they were doing. They took advantage of being home. They set big boundaries. The wicket in Harare is always like that, according to the commentators anyway. I've not watched much cricket in Zimbabwe. And they had left arm finger spinners, they had right arm wrist spinners, they had fast bowlers, and even their fast bowlers were short balls and slow deliveries. These guys knew what they were doing, and Armaan has said all along, Pakistan never have a plan, and maybe the reason Zimbabwe won today is they had a plan and Pakistan didn't. So we have to bear in mind that the World Cup is coming, right? Pakistan, we have to predict them on how they perform, not how we think they're going to perform, or not how we think Sharjeel, who hasn't got a game, will just come in and start smashing it. I understand all them points. However, if Pakistan were starting the World Cup tomorrow, I could only tell you how they would do on how they played today. So at this moment in time, Pakistan are going to struggle at the World Cup. Right. And of course, let's not take anything away from Zimbabwe. Nepal against Malaysia hit over 200 today, and Zimbabwe won today. It's a great day for cricket, if you ask me.
Yeah, absolutely. The developing cricket nations, the associate nations, and of course Zimbabwe is a full-fledged nation as well, doing great stuff. Another shout out to Zimbabwe, a fantastic win for them, a huge win for them, probably like a big occasion in the history of Zimbabwe cricket to beat a team like Pakistan at home, defending such a low total. Luke Jongwei, again, 4 for 18 from 3.5 overs. Fantastic. Richard Ngare as well, 3 overs, 1 for 10. Blessing Muzerbani, always so effective at the top. He bowled in the power play, still bowled 13 dot balls, so 4 overs, 1 for 24. Fantastic. And Ryan Burrell, of course, 2 for 21 from 4 overs. Just a great effort from Zimbabwe. Applause to them. The next match is on Sunday. We'll be back for another post-match chat then. Until then, leave in the comments what you would like to see different in the Pakistan team. How would you compose that team? I would like to see in the comments your 11s. Share your 11s, and some of the people from post-match chat will periodically comment on them. Until then, everybody, look after yourselves. My thanks to Anam Nadeem, Armaan Kirmani, Arif Asif. I'm Aatif Nawaz. Post-match chat is done.